Hello, this is Thea Lightweaver. Today I got the idea to make another Halloween themed video, kind of scary a bit, maybe on the darker side. I have for a long time been wanting to talk about some experiences that I've had with Lilith and Samael. So I just want to talk a bit about who they are before I go into my personal experiences. So I'll start with Samael, who some may think that he's like a fallen angel or something, but he's actually known as an archangel, but he had some darker duties. He's sometimes even known as the angel of death. He has also been given the names of like accuser, seducer, and destroyer, but these are just some duties that he was given, presumably by God. He sometimes is associated with like Satan or Lucifer, but he has a distinctly different energy from my experience. He's not necessarily evil because, he has some duties such as destroying sinners. So Samael is sometimes believed to be the father of Cain and the partner of Lilith. And from my experience, yes, he is a partner of Lilith. They are very well matched in energy. They fit together really well from what I've seen. I also found that, interestingly, that I'm being called to talk about him right now, but he was said to be a guardian angel and prince of Rome and the arch-enemy of Israel. But by the beginning of Jewish culture in Europe, Samael had begun to be established as a representative of Christianity due to his identification with Rome. And in some Gnostic cosmologies, Samael's role as source of evil became identified with the demiurge, the creator of the material world, which I can attest to. He's very much a part of this physical realm here, the material realm. So Samael was first mentioned during the Second Temple period and immediately after its destruction, and he was mentioned in the book of Enoch along with some other rebellious angels. In Enoch, he is one of the watchers who descended onto the earth to mate with human women, but he wasn't the leader of these watchers. He was just participating. And in some Greek texts, he is seen more as an evil figure because he has been thought to be the one to plant the tree of knowledge, and so he gets banished and cursed by God in some texts. And to take revenge, that's why he plants the tree of knowledge, to tempt Adam and Eve into sin by taking the form of the serpent. So, there's some school of thoughts that do just take the belief that he's completely evil, fallen angel, satanic, that kind of thing. So now I'm gonna move on to Lilith. And if you look at, you Google Lilith, you can hear her story so many times, her being the first wife of Adam, and then she didn't want to be subservient with him over her. Physically, he wanted to have sex with her and she wanted to be on top, and he didn't want that because he thought she should stay subservient to him. And so she didn't accept that. And, she just didn't want to take that role. Like, she felt she was equal to Adam. And so why should she be the subservient one? That just didn't make sense to her. So she didn't like that Adam wanted that kind of power over her. So she decided to leave. And when she was wandering and on her path, she met Samael. It just seems like those two fit together so well. Samael being like a masculine expression of her, and her perfectly expressing what he is in a feminine form. And you can see the symbol of the upside down star, and this is kind of a symbol that looks well balanced because those two balance each other out. I became interested in them a few years ago, and me being a Scorpio moon, I really like to dig into occult things. I'm Scorpio moon in the 12th house, conjunct K2, or the south node of the moon, conjunct conjunct retrograde Mars, conjunct Uranus, all in my 12th house. So I'm really into like digging into things like the occult and dark things. Sometimes, you know, can be not something I want to focus on, but sometimes I really do. And so I decided to try out some soul travel and meet these beings. And it didn't take very long. I mean, I lit some candles and I read about them, and I felt like I moved my consciousness and my energy into a place where I could contact them easily, and they knew that I wanted to contact them, and maybe even they were calling out to me because of what I was going through at the time. And they were pretty open and they allowed a meeting with me. And previously I did try and reach out to Lilith before on her own. I wanted her protection, and I felt so like different than other people that I thought I heard this concept of some humans being daughters of Eve versus some being daughters of Lilith, and the daughters of Lilith would be more unusual and more drawn to the occult and a bit more offbeat, and also we may have very bad experiences with men, like her experience with Adam. And so also, if you are a daughter of Lilith, it is said that she would try to protect you and warn you, but you have to actually listen to her for that to work. How many times do we get intuitive nudges about potential partners and we ignore it? We don't see the flags that they may be controlling and may not have our best interest in heart, and maybe they're just selfish and they just want to use us, and they're using many of us, and we don't always listen to that. But if you ask for her advice, she will give it to you, and you just have to be accepting of that, I would say. So, you know, I was trying to develop a friendship and relationship with her in that way because I wanted some protection. And of course I didn't listen to her advice because I was stubborn and I thought I was imagining it. And of course she turned out to be right in that case with her warnings. But anyway, around that time, through her, I wanted to get a feel for Samael, and I never tried to reach a masculine sort of darker deity before, but because of her I felt kind of safe to do that. So I went into soul travel, and the experience that I had was I saw the two of them. When you soul travel, many times it's like a sudden shift or an opening, like someone turns on a movie and all of a sudden there's a picture in your third eye. When your eyes are closed, you're watching a movie sort of thing. And that came up, and what I saw was an autumn forest, and it was like the leaves were orange and crunchy and kind of burning. So it's like this burning warmth, autumn crispness as well in the air. Like it was intense with kind of like fire, but like the edge of fire, like the edge of turning to winter where things become more like just quietness and death. But this wasn't quite there yet. And so I approached in the middle of the forest. It was like the edge of a forest, like on the other side of this leafy clearing there may have been a cliff, like a drop off, but I didn't see that. I saw the two of them, Samael and Lilith, and they were sitting on thrones, but they looked very earthy thrones, you know, like nothing too fancy. It was really like kind of gritty, very visceral and physical and intense, like just burning intensity. And you could feel like some kind of sexual attraction for Samael, like a pulling in kind of feeling. And Lilith didn't seem to have a problem with it. It wasn't like she's possessive over him, you know, she didn't mind that. So that was just kind of like an introduction that I had to their energy. I got to see them on their throne in a forest and feel their energy. That was that experience. And then around the same time, I was going through some stuff that was hard, and so I tried to ask for their help. So maybe this was like a month later or so, I tried to go back into contemplation, to soul travel back to them and to have an experience with them and ask them for their help. And so this one was longer and very intense. So what happened was I found myself on a ship and with them, and it was a ship that was not in water. It was going through like a city, like it was a ship going through streets. And I it felt very dark and intense, and it was not somewhere that I wanted to be. And I knew that they were taking me on a ride through hell. And I asked them, can I get off of the ship? I don't want to be here. Like, this is too much. And that this is a metaphor for what I was going through in my life at the time. It was a situation I did not want to be in. I didn't want to go through. I just wanted to exit stage left and move on with my life. But they told me, no, you have to go on this ride. You have to stay here. You have to go through this. And I just asked him again, please, no, I don't want to be here. And they said I had to, but they took the ship off on a side excursion, and they stopped at a store, and they went into the store and they brought me out a book, and it was a satanic Bible with the upside down star, and they told me that would help me on this trip that I had to take on the ship. And then it continued on. When you experience something like that, you may think, oh, these people are evil or something, like, what the hell's going on? But I figured it out. What it is about these deities are, so the whole purpose of us being on earth is to get experience and to evolve ourselves as soul. And sometimes we can evolve with lessons that don't feel so bad. But sometimes we need lessons that are awful and they shake us to the core because we're just not getting it any other way. Like, if we could all just get our lessons and be compassionate and loving and strong and have all the abilities easily, like, you don't have to practice, your fingers don't have to hurt and bleed from trying to learn the guitar, you could just know it, or you don't have to become a good athlete to practice until you're in severe pain. Of course we wish things were that easy, but sometimes you have to hurt and you have to go through hard things. But why do you have to do that? Is it because the guitar strings are punishing you and they're evil? Is it because your coach just likes to see you suffer, so they make you exercise until you're hurting really bad? No, they don't want to see you suffer, but they do want to see you become evolved. And Samael's not a fallen angel, but he has difficult tasks. Being the angel of death. What is death? It's the loss of something in order to rebirth yourself, or to rebirth a situation, or to create something inside of yourself that is no longer naive and cannot be taken advantage of anymore. And to lose naivety, you have to go through something awful. Sometimes that's what it takes for some people. It's good to know that there are beings that will even go into hell with you and will give you some kind of guidance when you feel like you're completely alone. Sometimes there's not some fluffy, lighthearted unicorns that are gonna go into hell with you. Maybe they will heal you when you feel like you're close to death or something. Unicorns are great for that, actually. They're so healing. But who's gonna go down into hell with you to get that lesson that's gonna evolve you? Sometimes it has to be these kind of deities, and if they weren't needed, then they wouldn't be here. Then God would never have created them. Samael and Lilith, they shook me to my core and they brought me a lesson. I don't know if they called me or I called them, or they were just there in this dark hour. They helped me in ways that I can't even put to words, to be able to see that, yes, this is bad, but I have to go through it. And I have tools. And I'm even going through this because I'm attracted to something that's not right. And why is that? How can I cure that attraction to something that's going to cause me pain, to self-destruction? Some people just self-destruct and they don't stop. They just keeps repeating. And maybe that is because they don't have that extra spiritual being that's helping them to transmute and to connect the dots and to oversee the lesson so that it doesn't have to be repeated. And maybe that's what that book did for me. I'm free from putting myself into a situation like that again. There's nothing in me that would ever do that again. What it was that I was taking a ride through hell for, the vehicle for that is eradicated. There's no way that's happening again. I'm good. So these kind of beings, I don't think that they're evil, and they are needed. You know, it can't be all love and light. We need darkness sometimes. Inside of the womb is dark before rebirth. When eclipses cover up the light of the sun and the moon, it's dark. And that dark moment is not rebirth, that's just death. And you can't skip over that. So if you're going through a dark time and you're having trouble making sense of it, and if you have a sneaking suspicion of something and you want some guidance and some honesty, I think those two are great deities. If you are drawn to negative, toxic patterns and you want to break free from that, they can help you to hit rock bottom or maybe watch over you as you do, but in a way where you're not going to repeat that. It's just going to die. That's what happened for me anyway. So yeah, I just wanted to talk a bit about these apparently, dark entities. Some people call Lilith a succubus. I don't know. I don't experience her that way, but I believe she could be if she wanted to. I wouldn't want to mess with her. I think if you are extremely angry and you call her in, I wouldn't do that, because her energy may take advantage of the anger. Like, it could see that as an opportunity to express itself, and it will just intensify the feeling, and it could cause a small death within yourself. So just be sure that if that's something that you want to go through. So she's empowering, but in a way that is so intense. And just make sure that your body is strong to handle something like that. Drink water, nourish yourself, have respect for her. And if you are someone who likes to take advantage of women, I would not go there, because when your guards are down and you think it's all clear, I think that may be just the time that she will, you'll see. And so that's all. That's my talk today about Lilith and Samael. And if you have any experiences with these two, comment below, because I'm really interested. And I hope you all have a wonderful Samhain or All Hallows Eve or Day of the Dead season. And I will talk to you all again soon. Thanks. Bye.